Glenn Welch from Bite Harder. Nice to see you in town. As usual, always has to stop in here in Ottawa and see us.
Absolutely.
It's from New Hampshire, something like that.
Yeah.
And you always come out with these new little innovative products to make life more comfortable on a sled or safer, perhaps. And now you have these. These are the Polytune Rings.
Bite Harder Products has always been about manufacturing devices that will give you better performance, better safety out of your machine. Our carbide runner and carbide stud sharpening tools do just that. Not only do they give you better performance in the turns, braking, hole shots, but they also give you better safety, maneuverability, steerability, and everything that comes with that. And safety is a big concern of ours. One of the things that we took a look at for last season was how can we help with suspensions? How can we help with machines? Sometimes for a lot of people can be intimidating. Getting around corners, tipping over on your side because of the centrifugal forces and whatnot. And what we said was they put out such great spring and shock packages nowadays. You can go in and tune the damping on your shock, compression and rebound. And in some instances, you get 40 clicks down below and 40 clicks up top. And how do you know exactly where to set it? That's something you got to play around with and base your own judgment on. But you could never tune your stock spring that came with it. Now, most snowmobiles come with a linear rate spring. That linear rate spring is great for keeping your snowmobile comfortable as you're going down the trail, a nice compliant ride. But when you start getting into the twisties and when you start getting into some of the bumps, which we all encounter from time to time, this linear rate spring isn't the best spring for that. A progressive or dual rate spring is. But you're not going to stop, take your linear rate spring off and put a progressive or dual rate spring on. So what we wanted to come up with was an idea that would make it very easy to change your spring into a linear or dual rate spring while you're on the trail in a matter of minutes to swap over to something that gives you more characteristics of those type of springs. So what we did was we introduced this year our Polytune Rings.
Yeah.
Polytune Rings are a similar type of product that have been used in the motorsports industry, NASCAR, Formula One, your sprint cars, all those cars. They all have some type of suspension tuning device that will allow you to tune your shock, particularly for the type of track or environment that they're running on. Now, Polytune Rings, what they do is they take a proprietary microcellular urethane. We have them molded. They're molded into numerous different sizes to fit the spacing on your spring. And what they do is they take your spring and they change its characteristics from a linear rate spring to a more progressive rate spring, so that when you're in the corners and in the bumps, you have better control.
This isn't rubber. This
is not rubber.
Doesn't work like rubber at all. Doesn't stiffen up like rubber.
Correct.
Yeah, you can tell it is like a malleable, or not malleable, but like a flexible.
Yeah, and it's virtually, you can almost take a screwdriver and you can't push it through this. Yeah. It's so difficult to try to permeate or penetrate with something sharp. It's very durable material. It works down to minus 40 degrees, and it works up as high as plus 200 degrees.
Are these going to blow out if you hit real hard? Will these pop right in?
No, this is these were final prototypes before the production units, which are starting to ship next week, were in place. The actual units, the production units, have capture tabs that come up around the top, and then they also have a deeper well in the bottom. Okay. So when you snap it on, it's on. It's not coming off. You can go over your jumps. You can go over your gullies. You can hit the bumps. They're going to stay. They're going to stay on.
Yeah, riding these sleds here, it's hard to. I mean, there are adjustments on them, of course. A lot of these, to have them set up perfectly for a softer ride, and then a ride where you can actually do a 10-foot drop or more, it's almost impossible to find that.
Right.
Because like you say, you'd have to stop and change your springs out. It's just not going to work. We were so rudely interrupted by my phone. I could see, like this one here, bottoms out. My QR 860 bottoms out. I could really see how that would be a great thing. It's the ability for that to absorb that extra shock and not really pound, because you can blow seals out of these things. You can really hurt them, right?
Now keep in mind, your front suspension, and this is what the Polytune is designed for, not the back suspension. There's too much going on in the back suspension, and we don't want to fight around with what the engineers have put together at the different manufacturers. But in the front, you've got a basic coil-over suspension, and again, you can tune your shocks, okay, but you cannot tune your spring.
Well, hold on. A lot of people say you can just crank the spring adjustments up or down.
But all that
preload
does is adjust the height of the sled.
That's right.
It does not adjust the performance of the spring.
Yeah. If you actually look in the, and I did, if you look in the manual, the adjustments on these are millimeters.
Right.
You know, you're not supposed to slacken these right off or crank them right up to give you a really solid ride. The adjustments in here are actually for the factory when they're setting the springs up. Like that's why they have all that thread on there, right?
Right. And it's, you know, if you've got a 300-pound rider on here, you're going to want to crank it down to keep the right height of that sled up. If you've got a 100-pound rider on here, you may just have to snug it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, the more you tighten this down, the less travel you're going to have out of your suspension.
Yeah.
The tighter you make that spring, the more travel you take away from it.
Yeah.
With a Polytune ring, what we do is we basically take the ring and we snap it on. This one will go on a little bit easier than the final units, but it gives you the idea. And that's all there is to it. What this urethane is doing is it's taking one segment of that spring and changing it to a progressive rate spring.
Is it gonna, when it actually compresses, is it gonna compress straight or is it gonna twist the spring?
No, it's going to compress straight.
Okay.
It's going to compress straight. You can put more than one Polytune ring on there. You can put 3 Polytune rings on there, depending on how much you want to change or how you want to tune.
Are there
that
different
spring.
densities?
There's different densities. There's 3 different densities. There's a soft, there's a medium, and there's a hard. And there's 4 different heights depending on the spacing. Now this spacing in here is 1.3 inches. The spacing on this snowmobile is probably about 3/4 of an inch. So we can set your sled up or get you a set of Polytune rings that meets the range requirements that you have. Now what does this do? What does this do exactly? What this does is when you start going around a right-hand turn, your sled starts leaning to the outside. The linear rate spring starts to compress. But as soon as it sees in this section that it's got a Polytune ring in there, it can't compress as much, and you get more of a progressive rate transition into that spring. And then it'll transition back out. Going over the bumps, you get a lot more bump compliance. You don't get that jittery feel when you go over the bumps. This settles that down in the spring. And because urethane is such a great material for dampening and vibration, there's actually less rider fatigue at the end of the day that you'll feel through your handlebars because it will take some of the vibration out of that. It's not taking motor vibration out, it's not taking rear tracks, but it is taking out a lot of your front suspension vibration and whatnot. So you'll feel less fatigued at the end of the day. It'll be, you'll be able to ride longer without as much frustration.
Now, are these gimmicks?
They are not gimmicks.
I'm asking you, because we already put a video out about this at the show, and I got that. These are gimmicks, snake oil, all this kind of stuff. What makes you an authority on this?
This technology has been around for 25 to 30 years in the power sports industry. This is technology that they've been using with success for a very long time. We worked with power sports engineers that manufacture a similar product for the power sports industry. They know the benefits of what this will do. Go to any NASCAR race, you'll see these on the vehicles. Go to any oval race, you'll see these on the, go to a Formula One race, you'll see these on the vehicles. This is technology that's been proven over the last 25 years. And now all we're doing is we're bringing that proven technology to the power sports industry so that you can take advantage of it on your sled. $20 a pair for these to start being able to now tune your
Yeah.
spring.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Versus having to go out and spend $800 to $1,000 to buy a set of progressive or dual rate springs. It's cheap money, and the performance you get out of it is just absolutely.
I can't wait to try them. We have enough rigs.
For $20, everybody should try them just to see if they like it. It's that amazing.
Yeah.
When you see them on the trail, people will ask, "Can I try them? Try your sled with them on it," and you'll see the big difference.
Yeah. Now, this won't be on there, but that diagram there, that picture that you showed me with all those different bumper stops and all that stuff. Can we show that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, well, let's check that out then. Yeah. So this is important because he's just grabbing a little sheet of paper that he showed me. Because a lot of people that sell snowmobile stuff, there's a lot of gimmick stuff out there. And although they do design things in their backyard and their garage, and a lot of products are kind of cool and they make sense, there's a little bit more to it than that. And Glenn's background is pretty extensive here when it comes to this kind of stuff. Come and take a look at this. He showed this to me. So these are all products that, Glenn, you make.
Keep in mind, we are a manufacturing company.
Yeah.
We CNC machine products. We design fixtures, tooling, textures.
Yep.
One of our automotive customers comes to us and asks us if they will let us, or if we can help them design a mold for these products. I can show you that this is a coil spring mold. If you flip this over, this sits at the bottom of a coil spring. This is a BMW body mount that helps take the vibration between the chassis, the frame, and the chassis and sub chassis. This is a prosthetic foot mold that goes into a prosthetic foot. This is for the Honda minivan. I'm not sure what this one goes to. This was for a Jeep Grand Cherokee, Ford F-150 truck. Not sure what those go to. This aluminum casing right here that you're looking at, these two pieces, the black and the natural color, get stamped inside there. This mounts inside the engine compartment here and here, and the strut rod comes up through that and mounts to that washer. So the strut rod, or the strut itself, never actually touches the inside of the engine compartment or the chassis. It touches that washer and then is dampened through that urethane piece before it comes into the vehicle.
And these aren't, none of that is rubber. Rubber is not used for
None of that's rubber. That is all urethane. Microcellular urethane.
So, I mean, this isn't coming from, somebody who just whipped up an idea, like, let's throw some of these things on a sled because they work. I mean, this is kind of a proven technology, been out there for a long time. And that's kind of why we like working with Glenn, because he's got the charts, he's got the products, they've used it, it's proven, and it does make sense. And I'm going to try these.
Yeah, we're going to get you a set. We'll get you a set of soft, medium, hard for whatever sled you want, and get out there and run them.
Right on.
And run them.
That's awesome. And these are retailing?
$19.95 right now with free shipping on the website. We're not physically shipping product. Like I said, product should start shipping by the end of next week. There's a lot of tooling involved to get these right. The tooling was delayed for a few weeks. We made a few tweaks of our own just to make sure everything was perfect. We wanted to get them right. Like I say, we should start shipping by the end of next week.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, thanks very much, Glenn.
Thank you.
As usual. And make sure you guys, if you like our videos, make sure you subscribe. Give us a big old thumbs up. And you can actually get these on our website, powermods.com, as well, on our e-commerce website. And looking forward to riding the trails. You got to bring your sleds up here this winter.
Absolutely. We'll be back.
Right on.